Hello, everybody. Rick DiClemente with Astrology Unplugged, a short version tonight. We've been just sitting back and chatting, but tonight we are going to take uh, a look at Timmy Wade's chart and interpret it for her. And one reason we're cutting tonight short is because everybody's on pins and needles waiting for these results to come in as I sit here in southwestern Pennsylvania. So we'll see what happens. So let's get into it and see what we find, everybody. And that's how we learn anyway. Here's your chart.
You know what? I need.
Okay, now I'm getting voices somewhere.
Oh, Gina Storio, Reno.
I took care of it. Thank you. Okay. I'm asking Kimry to unmute so I can talk with her. We'll get into your chart. Here's your chart.
And also, can I put out a disclaimer?
Yeah.
My son is 1.5 years, so if you hear him, I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. All right. Well, now look what we're looking at. How unusual already. We have a. Where are you calling from? Pittsburgh?
I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia,
Oh, okay.
or Riverdale, Georgia.
Okay, we've been watching a lot on the news on Georgia. We got the Sun and Mercury in Cancer. Luckily, most of the planets have moved past the 18th degree. Pluto's over here at 22. Saturn's over here at 26. So luckily, your sun has been beat up on the all year long, but now it's finally getting some relief. And being a Cancer is a worrisome sign. So you want things in the chart that are signs of being not worrisome. And these are both very good signs of that. Moon and Venus keep you lighter. So the Cancer tends to be a worrier, and the Gemini tends to come along and say, don't worry about it. Let it go. It's okay. So it does make you very childlike, very innocent. This Moon in Gemini is very, very emotionally bouncing around all the time. So you're the kind of person, I don't care what anybody tells you, you're going to be very moody. Your moods are going to be very unpredictable. And you have to tell people to zip it if they start to get on your back about being moody, because that's just the way you are. And you're going to say, I feel this and I feel that and I feel this, and you don't feel it, and you're a piece of wood and I'm not. Okay? Okay, you can't control this. That's just the way it is. Mm-hmm. Now, we got a T-square here. We do have Mars next to Saturn in Virgo. We have 3 planets in Virgo. We got Leo rising. Look at her hair. See the hair? Leo rising people have the big mane. All right. Jupiter's rising in Virgo. I told you what that means before. When she plans something, she's got everything on a list. I'm taking you camping with me because she's going to have everything in the truck. One of everything. It's just prepared and it's ready. That's what Jupiter Virgo people do. Versus me and Marcia, which is jump in there and figure it out. We'll get a sandwich somewhere. It never works. She got Uranus right on the angle. Very Aquarian. Uranus opposite Chiron. This woman is a born healer. A natural healer. That's what Uranus Chiron's all about. Also, very, very good energies for being an astrologer. This tells me that you probably won't be an astrologer, but you'll use astrology always in your life as a basis for everything else that you do. Okay? And with all the Gemini in you, you're very curious about a lot of different things. Now we see the Saturn Mars in Virgo. That's really good because that keeps the moon from being too emotional. I mean, the Cancer stuff from being too emotional. And it keeps these Venus, Moon, and Gemini from being too scattered. This is disciplined energy. Get in line. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay? So she's got these different parts of herself. This is a possible military background. Maybe not in this lifetime, but it's possible in a past lifetime. But it's a militaristic love of disciplined action. So she can see already she's got many different parts to herself. And she's kind of got a back bucket pattern to Eris, which means she's a radical, which means don't mess with her. Don't mess with this woman's female rights. Don't tell this woman she can't do something. Because she's out leading the parade and getting all her friends to say, oh, yes, we can. Right? That's what that means.
Right.
Now, the T-square is interesting here because we got a 20-degree Neptune versus 16 in the moon, kind of the midpoint between these two, the moon, the two emotional planets, and they make their T-square to Saturn and Virgo. Oh boy, now we're getting into the story. All right. What this means is she's got a part of her, this is all from past lives. She's got a part of herself that's really emotionally free. And she lets it go and she lets it rip. But no matter what she does, it all has to come back and focus and answer to that Saturn and Virgo drill sergeant. So probably in this lifetime, you probably had one of your parents play a role of being kind of strict emotionally, but it really wasn't the parent. This goes back to a past life. Because no matter what you do emotionally, it's not good enough for you. Here's your Cancer sun just trying to find a place to belong in the family. Over here, it gets all flipped out and Geminian and is trying to do any kind of crazy thing it wants to. Over here, you got this unhappy Gestapo watching you and always being unsatisfied with what you're doing.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Now, let me hear you describe how you see this.
Well, I guess I wanted to confirm what you're saying. My father was in the military for almost 30 years, and he was extremely critical. My brother and I, we deal with this complex a lot, is that we have so many different qualities, so many great qualities, but because we have that critical person in our ear, it manifests in our lives as we're never good enough.
Okay, that's very, very accurate. Now, I'm not surprised at all. What sign was your mother?
My mother is a Capricorn, and
What
my
sign?
father's Capricorn.
Oh, he was a Capricorn, so everything's by the book.
Both
Okay.
of those were Capricorn, my mom and dad.
Are they still alive?
Yes, they are.
This emotional Gestapo, how well has this worked out for your father's emotional health?
He's so hard. So he has a Capricorn sun and a Scorpio moon.
But how well has all this worked out for his emotional health?
The problem is he won't admit that this is a problem.
Okay, how many times have his knees locked up? How many problems is he having in his calf muscles? How many problems is he having in his feet? His legs are starting to go on him.
It's his legs and his back.
Okay, and the back. Okay, what happens is in the zodiac is friendly to those who flow. Not flipped out, but the fluid ones. The zodiac, the energy flows through you.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
So what he's laying on you, in other words, what he's saying to you really doesn't have anything to do with you. He's just playing a role.
Right.
Now we're going to go see the real story. Here comes Linda Jordan Platt, and I'm glad that she's with us. She must have had to teach. We're doing we took the first half hour and just chit-chatted, and now we're doing Tim Ree's chart. And I'm going to go to her 12th harmonic. Before I do that, I want to go to the natal chart. So I want to ask myself, okay, why does Timry have apparently 3 or 4 different people inside her, which is really normal? She's got this Cancer core. She got this playful Gemini streak, which is kind of like, anything goes with Neptune. Woo. This is you being off in dreamland, and here's your father opening the closet door, pointing the flashlight on you, saying, "What the hell are you doing in there?"
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But this is the playful underneath the blanket, and you got the comic books, and you're having fun, and anything goes, and you're artistic, and you're giggling and drawing on the walls and everything. And he comes in, finds out about it, and thinks you need to be a 3-year-old military expert.
Right. That's exactly it.
Okay, it's not coming from your dad. Your dad's playing a role. So we want to know, why did you set a chart up like this? In
Right.
1979, as you were about to be born, you and your guides decided to be born at this moment in that city. But why? So we go to your 12th harmonic, which is this one. All right. This is I'll get a drink of water. This is what I call your spiritual transcript. She has been living this way for many lifetimes. This is an overall average of how she's been living. She's about to take birth in 1980, and she says to herself and her teacher, because they're reviewing all her lives, what do I need in this new life? Well, she obviously feels that she needs what? Emotional discipline.
Yeah.
That does not, Timmy, that does not mean it's true or false, but it means this is what you decided at that point. Okay? Well, why is that? Carefree, 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 real emotional, real carefree, real carefree, real intense. The whole church carefree, real intense. So the reason that you decided that I need emotional discipline in this next life is why? Because of what I've said to you before. Because if you don't get control of your emotions, they're not going to let you in the pearly gates. That's what this is all about. I don't care what any astrologer tells you. All this energy that you had all this time and all these past lives, you didn't want to be limited anyway. You wanted to do this, you wanted to do that. You were good at this, you wanted to know about this, you wanted to travel, you want to see this. Real scattered. Even with that sun Pluto up there, you're real intense. But you could never put it together.
Right.
So in this lifetime, you put Saturn and Virgo. Or your moon, Venus have to answer to that Saturn and Virgo. Now, what you're going to find out tonight is this evening, which I prepared at the last minute to be open dialogue, and then I said, I'll look at your chart. You're going to see something happening tonight to that 12th harmonic chart, because that's the chart of the ankle bracelets. That's the chart of the iron-clad clasps around your ankle, your ball of chain. That's what's holding you down, not your dad. You're going to see that chart being activated tonight because it's a sign of you and Rick are going at it with a chisel. We're starting to loosen you up from that. Why? Because you're ready. You're starting to become ready to get past that because that ball and chain around your ankle and that strict father served its purpose. It wasn't for naught. It did a lot of good things for you too for 40 years.
Right.
But notice you're 40 and you're coming into your 42nd year, your midlife crisis. So let's go take a look at the 12th harmonic. All right. So here's your 12th harmonic. Where's Pluto and Saturn right now? Well, they're both right about here, about 20, 21, 22. Okay, so they're about to square that Chiron. All right. Where is Uranus? Uranus is about 8, 9, 10 of Taurus, right opposite that sun. What do you think Uranus is trying to do to your chart? It's the one with the big chisel. Uranus is the thing that it rules Aquarians. And the thing Aquarians can't stand is any kind of ankle bracelet, anything that's holding them down.
Right.
It wants them to break free. You get me, Claudia? So you're starting to find out that you're ready to start breaking free. But what the ultimate thing, here's the ultimate thing. And this took years of study to figure this out. You're coming along through all these lifetimes. You're about to take a new lifetime. You're sitting with your spirit guide. You're deciding what energies you need. Therefore, what exact moment do you need to go in your mama's belly so that you're going to enhance your ability to get through the pearly gates. Because in your mind, you're not getting into pearly gates till you pass that damn Saturn and Virgo.
Right.
But the truth is, there ain't no Saturn in Virgo, there ain't no pearly gates, and there ain't no judge out there except you.
Right.
See? That's why we're in a new era. Do you understand?
Right.
We're in such a new era. This is considerable. This is just like ending the Dark Ages, even though things are bad. But we're starting to rip off of ourselves these constraints where we're able to do anything we want now. Thank you to the 60s. Thank you very much to Susan in Cleveland and all the hippies in their vans and Marcia Budd in Morgantown. For all the early work that we did. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Telling all of us how useless we were with our unisex shops. Yeah, well, you're benefiting now, aren't you?
Thank you.
Okay, now, but what we're learning, you see, when you finally learn that there are no pearly gates and there is nobody judging you, everything changes. What do you do in your churches? What do you do with all the books? What do you do with all the dogma?
Yeah.
It's a hell of a change. So when you're really weak in the mind, you just follow some idiot called Trump. People actually sit there and wait for his opinion.
Approval.
I mean, I would not let him walk my dog. I would not. I would never get the dog back. And you know it.
Right.
So they're waiting around for his opinion. So it just shows how far people have gotten by not trusting their mind. I got to believe in Fox Network. I got to believe in Trump or whatever. So there's the problem we have in the country. It's not really love and hate. It's people have not been taught to think. The other half, us other half, all the wild ass people, they end up on this show.
Right.
So what you're learning is it's all up here. And now you can go back to your father and treat him with total respect, for I understand how you are. I understand what you thought. It's not applicable to me anymore. It's not what I want. It's not what I need. I know why you did it. I appreciate it.
Got it.
You understand?
Right. It's
But you
interesting.
no longer have to worry. Go ahead, dear.
Well, it's interesting because exactly what you're saying, that's what my father and I are going through, is that I realize that whatever that he's doing or however that he feels or it doesn't affect me anymore.
Yeah, because you got to remember, a Capricorn mind, there's one way to do things. And if you're not doing it that way, you're screwing up and you're not going to get there. But
that's right.
Capricorn leaves a lot to be desired because Capricorns paint themselves in a corner all the time. Because one of the things you'll always hear from a Capricorn, you always hear this phrase: there's only one way to do this. Or there's only one way to do that.
Oh, God.
It's not the truth.
You know my father?
Yes, I did. Because I know the archetype. Now, I want to give you something else. And I've told people on this show. I'm going to give you something now. The keys to the highway. The keys away from your mom and dad. The way you graduate from your mother and father, this is what I have found. Okay? The way you graduate from your father is to see him naked in a pair of diapers and a playpen. And if you see him there, the little stuff with the little rattle, then you talk to him and say to him, well, are you going to raise me? Are you capable of raising me? He's not capable of raising you.
No.
What does he do to his own inner self? The way he treats his inner self is how he's going to treat you.
Right. Right.
It's not his fault. He loves you.
Right. Okay. That's a good way to think of it.
Secondly, once you see them helpless and as children, then you can understand them. Secondly, you don't hold resentment, and I can tell you don't.
Okay.
If you hold resentment, you ain't going anywhere.
I did for a long time, but that's changed.
You're a new woman. You're a
Yeah.
new woman because Uranus is coming your way. So let's take a look at that. Uranus is what's going to release you. Okay, so we see that Uranus is here about 10, 10, 9, 8, 10, 9, 8, and it's coming on opposition to your sun, and then it's going to blow up the sun, Pluto, and then it's going to cross this line. And that's your whole emotional basis. So what we're seeing is in the next year and a half, 2 years, it's going to put this 12th harmonic to bed.
Okay.
You're not going to be controlled anymore by this past life pattern. So let's go to your birth chart. Okay. Now, where's Uranus at? Uranus is about 10 or 11, 9, 10, 11 of Taurus. It's approaching this here. And I'll tell you right now what this means. 17 and 21. In about a year and a half, and you'll probably start learning now because this is the house of learning.
Right.
You're going to start learning to heal.
Right.
Be a healer or an astrologer, something like that. But it's going to start happening now. Yes, ma'am, Susan in Cleveland. You got to unmute yourself.
Okay, what about her, let's see if I can remember, you had the chart up a second ago. That Mars, wait a minute, bring back the chart. Okay, so we got that Mars, Saturn in Virgo square the moon.
Okay, very good. It squares the moon natally.
Yes, so what's that all about?
Well, that's a big deal when we start talking about Neptune, because Neptune's at 21, 22, and Neptune's going to oppose this Saturn, which is squaring that moon.
Right.
What that's about is the Saturn problem that she has is worse than we thought, because it's really closely got its grips around her moon. Whatever you feel is not right. You can't feel that way. What's wrong with you? That's what she feels. That's how she feels because of this. It doesn't matter if she's right. That's how she feels.
Is there something of restrictive spending happening there too?
Well, that could be with the Venus, yes, that could be, but it's more important than that. It's restrictive life energy. Okay. She goes out and she feels all this wonderful life energy, and she's a Cancer and she feels and she wants it, but she can't process it. Because anytime she brings it into her system to process it, somebody's been on her shoulder saying, that ain't right, that ain't right, that ain't
like
right.
Literally, that's exactly my whole entire life.
Yeah, exactly.
That right there.
And all you had to do was spend $150 about 30 years ago, and you could be freed of all this.
I was 10.
I'm just kidding. You needed to go through this to learn. Now, what's going to happen to you is this. Your two things. Neptune's going to start working on that Saturn squaring your moon. Neptune's going to come over here and start opposing that Saturn. Okay? And when Neptune opposes Saturn, the Neptune in you starts to say, well, you know what? Maybe I don't. Let me show it to you. Let me show it to you. Neptune is going to start to get to 21, 22. It's been in that area. It's at 18 now. It's going to start opposing that Saturn, and it's going to gently start squaring that moon over the next few years. So what you got is Neptune's going to start talking to Saturn. Now, Neptune talking to Saturn is completely different than Saturn talking to Neptune. Which planet is transiting? Neptune's transiting.
Right.
That means the spiritual part of you is going to start to grow. Being gifted by this reading tonight, you're going to start to feel God's grace coming your way. You're going to start feeling, I don't have to be so uptight anymore for myself.
Right.
Dad, if you want to be this way, God bless you. I'm not doing this anymore to the little Timmy.
Right.
I'm not doing it anymore.
Right.
All this comes down to, how do you treat the little Timmy inside?
Right. And this is happening in my life now. This is literally happening
Right.
since started
That's
happening
why
since last year.
That's why you're getting the reading now.
Right.
And you popped on the scene last week.
Right.
Well, that's how God works. He knows what he's doing. So
Right.
what the Neptune will do, Neptune's much wiser than Saturn. Much wiser. Neptune is the Christ voice. Neptune is the one that says, let it be, it'll be all right.
Right.
She doesn't have to crease her pants before she goes to work. It's going to be all right. She doesn't have to get her intestines all twisted up,
Right.
which is what the Virgo problems cause. You
Right.
can start relaxing now, because ultimately, there's a black cat. Cross my path. Ultimately, we want you to be the little Cancer girl that you are.
Right.
Oh, isn't this nice? Oh, let's have a tea party. Isn't this nice? My friends can come over. I can show them the nice things I have. I'll show them the nice little gift that I bought them. Isn't that sweet? That's what a Cancer is.
Right.
Now, you can be tough when you want to be. And
Right.
that's good to have that Mars Saturn call on when you have to be,
Mm-hmm.
right? But
Right.
inside, you're a very tender little girl.
Right.
And you're going to surround yourself by people who appreciate that little girl.
Right.
Because Cancers, you're not going to grow out of being a little girl. Even if you're 95 and been in the Marines, you're just a little girl. That's the way Cancers are.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So
I
the
feel it.
Neptune's going to start growing and growing in you, giving you more faith in letting go, giving you more faith in not believing that dogma, getting you out of that rigidity. You got to, getting you into the world of gray instead of black and white.
Right.
You see? And
Yeah.
then what's going to happen, it's going to start really activating your Chiron, opposition to Uranus, and that's going to lead you towards being a teacher. But that's what I wanted to say. Then what's going to happen to you, you're going to start teaching what you just went through.
Got it.
And Timry, Cancers do they what? They teach children. That's what they do.
Right.
They teach kids because that's their specialty. That's where we need you. And what are you going to teach kids? Everybody tell me, what lesson is she going to teach children? Anybody?
Be yourself.
Be
And love
yourself.
yourself.
Exactly right. Be
Got it.
yourself. Anybody else?
Love yourself.
Love
Right.
yourself. You see, to a Capricorn, if you let yourself go, you're not being dutiful and you're not being responsible, and you end up a mess. But that's not how Cancers are.
Right.
Cancer's all about, I got to take care of my emotional self.
Right.
And that little girl in you has been backed into the corner all her life, scared to death of this guy.
Yeah. Well, I think with because I'm still, that's in there. I'm extremely feisty, but I think the problem is that he's hurt me so much emotionally that it just manifests in my life like, okay, you know that you're good, but you're never good enough.
Okay, but now, number one, you don't want to go marry him.
I did marry him.
Yeah, well, everybody marries their abusive father. It's always.
Yeah.
Did you
I
get
did.
out of it?
No, my husband is a good guy, but he's extremely critical.
Okay, well, you're going to have to get past that because you ain't got no more time for somebody being critical of you.
Got it.
Okay, sorry, but it's time for your husband to grow up too.
Right.
Okay, now, you're going to become a hell of a teacher with that Uranus Chiron up and down the midheaven. I keep telling you, when it's on the angles, Hers goes up and down in midheaven. You're going to be a healer extraordinaire.
And is that soon?
Oh yeah, it's happening. It's starting now, but I mean, I'd have to get into finer readings for you. It's going to
Okay.
have peaks over the next 5 years, peaks and peaks and peaks.
Mhm.
But you're into it now. You're in the
Right.
early stages, and the early stage is not to become a healer. The early stage is to get the chains off the ankle.
Right. Got
So,
it.
so it's a whole process. But I'm telling you, here's a secret. I know this from a fact, and I like to condense things to make it easier. Your secret is to start seeing your mom and dad in their diapers, in the playpen.
Right.
Once
Right.
you start to see that, then you take their power away.
Got it.
You
Yep.
understand me?
Absolutely.
Can you see your father as a little baby?
Yes, I really
Okay.
can.
Can you see him as objectively now? Can you see him as a person who can be a healthy father to a healthy daughter?
No.
No, exactly right.
No.
That's he can't do it. Now it doesn't mean I hate the guy
No.
or you
Me
hate
either.
him. It didn't that way you can get past the anger with him. You forgive him and you see what came to him. But your dad played this role. Because when you were creating this role, you had your soul group raising their hand. I'll be dad, I'll be mom, I'll be the dog.
Right.
See, he was just playing a role. So it's very important, especially in cancer, because cancers are real good with, I'm going to hang you for this and I'm not letting you off the hook.
Oh yeah.
That's
Oh
very
my God.
Cancerian.
Yes, that's
Don't fall in this trap. Yeah, I know you. I lived with you for a couple of years.
I'm Petty Betty. I would.
No, see, that's the reason Trump's so bad.
Yep.
Trump's got the whole bucket pattern to the moon, and that's why
Right.
he's his whole chart is about that Venus Saturn. I'll get back at you, and I'll show you, and I'll show you, and I'll show you, and
Mhm.
it doesn't show anybody.
Right.
I think you're going to do exceedingly well. I think you're on track. If you want a reading in the future, give me a call.
Well,
But I think you got the seeds of what you need. And you
I
can
know.
see how beautifully timely this was tonight, how God's grace came to you.
Yes. This was confirmation.
And Claudia's over there going, "Mhm."
I really appreciate this.
Oh, you are welcome, because this comes from our group.
Right.
This comes from the love of our group right to you.
Right.
And if you weren't doing the work, yeah, I'll get you, Peggy. If
Mhm.
you weren't doing your work honorably, this would never happen. I would have
Right.
had something else planned. You couldn't have got connected. I would have looked past you. It wouldn't have been right. But you're on the right track. And the real good thing about this is that you can still love your dad.
Right.
You can love him, but put him
Mhm.
in that place and don't get into the self blame either.
Right.
Because you got a lot of untwisting to do with that, with being really cruel to yourself. You got to start getting looser and let that Gemini part of you start winning. You
Right.
need to go have some fun.
Right. When
Yeah,
you said that my Gemini moon and it jumps around, and especially that energy with Cancer, like literally, that's been a very hard thing because people don't understand me. I have Mercury
I can help
retrograde as
you with
well.
that. We need to work privately. I can definitely help you with it because you've got some difficult energies to merge, and we're going to have to let them all on the stage at the same time.
Right.
But
Okay.
I'll help you with it, and you're not going to be able to do this by yourself, not at
Mm.
first. Peggy, what did you want to say, dear?
For Timmery, it took me a very long time in my life to understand my mother and let her go, but I came to one realization that your mom and dad are people, and they're just trying to make their own way in the world, and you happen to be there, and so you get a little bit of the backlash, not necessarily are they doing that on you, they're just not coping very well, and it's hard for them to be an adult sometimes. And the other thing was, after my mother died, she came to me and she told me that she was there because she was playing a role for me, and that she had to go back to heaven and help all the little children that were being battered and abused come back, and that she was sorry that she couldn't be any better, but she was in a hurry because she needed to
Right.
get back to heaven. So I mean, this is what it is. He's right.
I
They're just
want to show you one more thing. Thank you very much. Timmy, this is, I want you to see this, and I've not even looked at this. This is your sixth harmonic. This is the harmonic. It's like changing lenses and zooming in on certain parts of yourself. Well, we've been getting back to looking at the past lives before. This is the one that looks to your destiny, what you'd be good at. And this one really comes into play when you're around age 51, usually. But for some people, it comes when they're 40, or some people 30. But what do we see here? We see 5 planets here. We see 5 planets there. What are they saying to us? Well, look what's rising. The moon. Okay, the Cancer planet in Virgo. What does that mean? I'm not even going to go any further. You are here to work with the little ones to make sure that the way they feel is okay to them.
Right.
That's your secret.
Got
Because your destiny is related to the trauma that you went through.
Right.
Because other than, if you don't have trauma at the basis of what you're doing, you don't have any gas in your tank.
Right.
So you're right on track. I don't have any doubt. And I do think you and I should talk sometime when it's the right time and when you start to sort some of this out. Now, this will be on the video on YouTube for this week, even though it's one reading.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, you are certainly welcome. Now, look at Linda sitting there with a cat all over her. Come on, Linda. Let's hear from you about the political evening that we're in. Ask to unmute.
Well, all I'm going to say is my cat loves you. The minute she hears your voice, she comes running.
Oh yeah.
Every week, and then she wants me to go like.
I love you too. What's her name?
Her name's Shelby.
Oh, she's just touching your head.
Yes. Oh, she does it all. I mean, she's every week she's like banging me in the head while I'm trying to listen to what you're saying, and she's going with this.
Listen, I am not going to continue. I'm just going to tell you all that I love you all very much. And I'm really trying to show you some of the tricks to the trade. And it's a wonderful thing that we get to see tonight, because we get to see how impromptu the planets are just dynamic and they work with people. And we see how Timry was not ready till now. She came to us, she's ready. She may not be back, doesn't matter. But she understands. And a lifelong trial with this guy. This means
I'll be back.
yeah, well, you do that. But this means to me that you've been through a lot of lifetimes with a lot of people telling you some crazy stuff. And now, my favorite thing to say on this show, you go forward and don't listen to anybody.
Right.
Don't listen to me. Don't listen to John.
Yeah.
Don't listen to anybody, because you know what you're doing.
Who's John?
He's up in the corner there.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, my husband's name is John.
He's a Pittsburgh lawyer. He's going to be busy tonight.
Got it. Oh, okay.
Everybody, good luck tonight. Good luck with everything.
Good luck, everyone.
Yeah. Love y'all. I'll see you next week.
Rick.
2 weeks is Nook Sanchez, and you make sure your tabletop is cleaned off for that.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Some
Thanks,
sleep,
guys.
everybody.
Have a good night.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.